Hi guys, it's Kirsty here and thanks for tuning into my channel Crypto Flamingo. So today I'm going to talk to you about Ripple and the XRP token. So first of all, who are Ripple? So Ripple was first developed in 2004, but it wasn't formally founded until 2012. Now it was initially founded under the name Ripple Payment Protocol, and the token was initially called the Open Coin. Now there's two recorded founders that I could find, one of which was Chris Larsen, and the other being Jed Caleb. Now you might recognise the name Jed Caleb because he's also been associated with Mt. Gox, but before all the drama happened, and he was a co-founder of Stellar. So Ripple was then rebranded in 2015 to become what we know now, Ripple Labs. And they currently are based in San Francisco, which is in California, America, and they have over 150 employees. So what is the strategic issue that Ripple are trying to address? So they noticed that when you try to make a cross-border payment, that is transferring money from one jurisdiction or country to another, the current process is inefficient. So what they've done is they've developed a network and a product which enables money to be transferred across international borders in a more efficient way, meaning reducing the time that it takes to process and reducing the fees incurred as a result of that. So the Ripple network has lots of different shareholders, stakeholders, users, members, whatever you want to call it. But realistically, it is to facilitate business-to-business transactions, and its core customer sector is banks and payment providers. So if you are a bank or a business that Ripple is trying to address, the value proposition that they are trying to sell is based on the fact that their payments cost less. In the example on the screen, you can see that this payment costs 60% less when it's facilitated through the Ripple network as opposed to normal means. So what is RippleNet? RippleNet is essentially the Ripple network or ecosystem. So that's the platform that they've built these things on. So it has three different sections that you can consider. One of them is xCurrent, and that's basically an API which enables bi-directional messaging. So it's basically the little packet of information that's sent between the banks to enable the payment to occur. So that could be KYC, AML, it could be the account information, it could be your personal information. It's all the secure encrypted data which enables that transaction to occur. Next is XRapid. XRapid is the liquidity that they offer the banks, which is in the form of their XRP token. So if you send XRP between Bank A and Bank B, both of which are in different countries, then because it's the same currency, it doesn't incur fees. And if you take on both of these factors, both the Liquidity XRP and the software which enables process efficiency, then that is classed as XVIA. That's my understanding of it. However, I did message Ripple and ask them to verify, but unfortunately they never responded. As you can see here, their governance board has some high-profile banks, and they've received quite a lot of investment since 2013, which would imply they could be credible, or perhaps their product is perceived to show value to banks and investors. So what is XRP? As we discussed, XRP is the currency which is native in the XVIA platform. It's the thing that allows XRapid to happen, aka it is a tool to enable liquidity in cross-border transactions. So it's a tool that's used by banks. And apparently when banks signed up to use the xCurrent software, because they saw this as valuable and they did get on board with it, they were giving out XRP as swag. So it was actually given out for free to banks. Which in a way, I wonder if that corrodes the value of the token. Because if something is given out for nothing, then what is it worth? So competition. Who are the core competitors of Ripple and XRP that we should be aware of? So I mentioned earlier that one of the people affiliated with Ripple in the early days was Jed Caleb. Now, according to the internet, in the initial days where they were trying to decide their marketing strategy, stroke commercial strategy, e.g. like who they were going to target, there was a difference of opinion. So as we know, Ripple is for banks and businesses. It's a very cold sort of product. whereas he wanted it to be for the people, and therefore he left Ripple and he went on to create Stellar. And Stellar is targeted to developing countries. It's basically exactly the same as Ripple, but instead of being targeted to businesses, it's targeted to people. So other competition to watch are the IBM World Wire, the Hyperledger Fabric Network, and the JPM coin released by JP Morgan. Again, these are all things that are dealing with banks, with payments, with processes, with efficiencies. So the marketing of Ripple, I haven't personally seen, but that's because I'm not their target market. It seems their target market is businesses and banks, as well as Asia specifically. So I don't know how it is, how successful it is. The only thing I can comment on is the fact that I messaged them via Twitter and they did not respond. So that's all I can say. They also recently announced that they have partnered with MoneyGram, which could be very interesting to see how they develop their strategy going forward. So my overall thoughts on Ripple, I think that they've demonstrated two great core competencies. The first is partnerships and negotiations. So as you can see by the amount of investors that they have and the high profile governance board, they must be extremely good at negotiating, developing partnerships, developing relationships. And that is a very good core competency to have that not enough people truly appreciate the value of. Secondly, Xcurrent. So a lot of banks have gotten on board with Xcurrent because they recognise that that product, that software, fulfills a need. So they have a clear understanding of the banking cross-border payment process, and they've developed a product which satisfies problems, needs, it's useful, people want it. So I think that's great, two very good core competencies. However, I do not think that the XRP token presents the same value. I do not think it has a unique selling point. I think it could be easily replaced with any other cryptocurrency or token instead. There's no reason that they would need to use XRP and they couldn't instead use perhaps Bitcoin. But that's the avenue that they've gone down. And also, as we discussed earlier, the fact that they gave away XRP as swag to banks who got on board with Xcurrent, I think corrodes the overall value of the XRP token. So I think that it's an interesting product. I think the business obviously has some good resources, some good core competencies, and that if they stick to increasing the efficiency within cross-border payments, they'll be very successful. However, I personally don't believe in the XRP token. I think it's a bit rubbish and it could be easily superseded by another token, but that's just my opinion. So thank you very much for listening, and I will look forward to your thoughts, comments, etc. Cheers, bye!